KUAM News Headlines, presented by Calvo's Insurance, serving Guam for 80 years. Matson and the Adai Tano program. The all-new 2018 Kona by Hyundai, available at Cars Plus. IP&E, fueling excellence. McDonald's of Guam, I'm loving it, and King's Restaurant, located in Tamuning and Dededo. Always open, always local.
Ahead on Primetime, a call for a recount by one of the gubernatorial teams. Chris Barnett has more, as the GEC will have to decide whether or not to accept that request. Plus, she spent the last 16 years representing the island in the nation's capital. Now, Congresswoman Madeline Bordallo will have to step aside. Carmen Talahi has the interview. And in open heart surgery success, GRMC staff relaunch a program to perform the procedure. Nearly a handful completed just this past week.
Hafa and good evening.
The GEC today saying there's no legal grounds for a recount despite a slim margin between the two top Democratic gubernatorial finishers.
The GEC saying in this report from Chris Barnett, the primary election isn't over until all of the votes are counted.
The Guam Election Commission today saying the number of votes separating the top two finishers in the Democratic gubernatorial race doesn't meet the election law criteria for an automatic recount. And with just 260 votes separating Lou and Josh and Ugan Limtiako, the GEC today told KUAM News they still have about 300 ballots that haven't been counted yet. While the top two Democratic teams finished just over 1% apart, GEC Director Maria Pangilinan clarified the election law covering recounts.
The law says that it's 2% difference in votes. And so what that means to the Guam Election Commission is that you take the difference, and the difference is 260, and you divide it by the higher number, and it comes up to 3%. If one chooses to divide it by the lower number, it's still 3% above the 2% threshold.
So as of now, you guys have no plans to conduct a recount?
That's correct.
So, long story short, the Ugan Limtiako team narrowly misses the threshold for an automatic recount. But today, the team wrote a letter to the GEC requesting a recount of Democrat gubernatorial votes, citing the 260 vote difference between their team and the Leon Guerrero Tenorio team.
That would be up to the commission.
Would this be something that they would vote on?
Yes.
The request from Ugan Limtiako will likely be entertained at Thursday's GEC board meeting. With 146 provisional ballots and 142 absentee ballots yet to be counted, Pangilinan acknowledged the primary election results are in no way final.
The Lou and Josh team is already celebrating victory. Would you say that this election is over?
Certification is not yet done. What closes the primary is the certification of the election.
Pangilinan said the GEC has to wait until September 10th for the 142 absentee ballots it mailed out to come back and be counted. Now, in the meantime, it will conduct research on how many provisional ballots will be counted. Provisional ballots, votes cast by people whose names didn't show up on voter registration rolls. Now, if their name wasn't on voter rolls at the polls because of an error by the GEC, then their ballots and votes will be counted. And if all of the remaining ballots are counted and bring the difference in votes between the top two teams to 2% or lower,
then there'd be a recount.
There's an old saying when it comes to elections: every vote counts. Now, for this to be true, we must make sure every vote is counted. And that's exactly what Pangilinan and the GEC intends to do.
So are we done counting ballots?
No.
For Guam's News Network, Chris Barnett reports.
Well, each of the Democratic gubernatorial teams issued a statement following the final results. Ugan Limtiako, who we know is calling for a recount, states, quote, "In the name of a true and accountable democracy, there are still some concerns we'd like to see addressed and resolved in the coming days to ensure the integrity of the election process."
Gutierrez Bordallo conceded today, congratulating Lou and Josh, stating, quote, "We did not make it during this election, but it's so much more than that. It's not over. I'm not done. For the rest of my life, I will continue to serve our people, and I will support anyone who is willing to do the same."
From Rodriguez Cruz, they state, Dave and I did not prevail, but that doesn't mean what we fought for shouldn't prevail. They congratulated Lou and Josh and asked all voters to elect a majority of Democrats to the legislature and to choose candidates who pledge to be free thinkers and who vow not to conduct the business of corporate corruption behind closed doors at the expense of the public's interest.
Over to the delegate race, Congresswoman Madeline Bordallo is out and Democratic candidate Senator Michael St. Nicholas is advancing to go up against Doris Flores Brooks in the general this November.
That's right. Bordallo is understandably disappointed. Carmen Chalahi sits down with the longtime representative to talk about her defeat.
The race was close. Final results naming first-time congressional candidate Senator Michael St. Nicholas victorious over longtime Congresswoman Madeline Bordallo.
It was disappointing, but I've been in politics a long time, and my husband said many years ago to me, he said, you lose some and you win some.
Elected for 8 terms, Bordallo has served as Guam's delegate to D.C. for 16 years, thanking her supporters early Monday morning.
I want to thank the people of Guam. They're wonderful, and I love to work for them, and I want to continue to work for them and advise them in the future.
Conceding to her opponent on Sunday when asked if she will support her Democratic candidate Senator St. Nicholas, she says though he didn't sign the unity pledge, she remains loyal to her party.
Well, I'm a Democrat. You know, I would like to think that he didn't sign the party pledge, so I don't know. Probably he's going in as an independent.
St. Nicholas won on the Democratic ticket, which is why Bordallo has to step aside. Meantime, she says she will use her last months in office to continue her service to the island and the people of Guam.
And I only hope that my work with the war claims and the build-up, the military, and all the other projects that I'm involved in, and it's quite a range of projects, that whoever is in office will carry on. It's not easy in Washington.
Reporting for Guam News Network, I'm Carmen Victoria Terlahi.
Senator St. Nicholas declined an interview with KUAM, but on his Facebook page posted, quote, our people have set this into motion, a change in our island's congressional representation for the first time in 16 years. He thanks the Congresswoman for all her years of service, adding, quote, as we move on to the general election, it is with a full awareness of the gravity, symbolism, and responsibility that comes with being your chosen agent of this change, end quote.
Goodbye, legislature, and hello, Guam PA. Speaker BJ Cruz taking the spot as Guam's next public auditor. In a statement, Cruz says, quote, I am deeply humbled by this result and our people's continued trust in me. I won't let them down. As I promised prior to this election, I will allow the GEC to complete its certification process and begin transitioning to this new role after the August legislative session is complete, end quote. Cruz won the special election, gaining more than 14,000 votes. That's about 47%. He beat out Dr. Doreen Crisostomo and Yuka Hedgenova for the job. Again, Cruz is set to start his new role after the GEC certifies the results.
Meanwhile, Governor Calvo suggests the much lower Republican turnout in Saturday's primary was because the Democrats had much more at stake than the GOP, as most of his party's candidates ran uncontested. Calvo expects more voters for the general election.
And for me, obviously I'm going to be backing all our Republican teams, but then at the same time, I also understand once the people have spoken, come November, whether there's a Republican or Democrat in Adelup, whether there's a Republican or Democrat in Washington, D.C., and whatever that majority may lie in terms of the legislature, we're all one family, we're all one community. Let's all come together and work towards, again, a prosperous 2019 where the quality of life for our people is improved.
Calvo, of course, leaves office in January after 8 years and by law cannot serve more than 2 consecutive terms.
Well, the primaries may be over, but our election coverage goes through the general. Coming up on D18 tonight, we will bring back in studio the head of the Guam Election Commission, Maria Pangilinan, much to talk about what happened over the weekend. She will be joined by Republican Party Chair Jerry Crisostomo and Democratic Party Chair Senator Regine Bisco-Lee. Be sure to tune in and get those questions posted on our Facebook live stream so that we can get them to the guests. Then, following that on KUAM News FB, we will have the after party. Joining our host tonight will be Juan Carlos Benitez with the Republican Party, former Senator Roy Respicio with the Lou and Josh team, and political analyst Dr. Ron McNinch. D18 tonight starts at the bottom of the hour, right after prime time.
It was back to business as usual for the legislature. Senators returned to work, more ordinary work, following a Democratic election weekend, which saw one of the closest ever gubernatorial primary races and the surprising defeat of an 8-term congressional delegate. One of the bills approved for a vote was the Newborn Infant Safe Haven Act. It's meant to provide protection for babies by allowing a mother to relinquish her unwanted infant to the proper authorities. Bill author Senator Mary Torres.
It fast tracks that relinquishment of parental rights within 48 hours so that a child can not only be cared for immediately, be identified for adoption immediately, but I think most importantly, it allows that child to get into a loving and protective home much quicker than if it went through the normal adoptive process.
Senators also discussed several land transaction bills and a measure that would allow law enforcement personnel to have the option of joining an employee union. The legislature has not yet voted on those bills and recessed until Tuesday.
Well, senators also voted down a motion by Republican Will Castro to vote on the controversial appointment of Eric Palacios as Customs Director. Oversight Chair Senator Selena Nelson has withheld the nomination because of various concerns raised by his employees. Here's Senator Tom Atta, who spoke against the motion.
For whatever reason, and I would give that chairperson, the committee, the benefit of the doubt that there is good reason for not reporting out the nomination. And so I want to respect that. I want to preserve the authority of the committee chair, because in essence, by pulling it out of committee, it becomes a vote of no confidence in that committee chair.
The governor has been pushing lawmakers to take an up or down vote on Palacios. Senators on Monday did confirm 5 board appointees and a cabinet member. Former prison deputy director Kate Baltazar was approved as station manager to KGTF.
Stick around for more news here on Primetime.
You're watching KUAM.
There are more ways to experience Guam via KUAM News, giving you what you want, when you want, and how you want it. From smart devices, Alexa, what's in the news?
Here's your flash briefing.
Over the web, on mobile, on streaming platforms, with immersive, interactive formats, and via social media where it's more than just content, it's conversation. More ways to keep you informed and entertained whenever you want it, wherever you are, on whatever device you're using.
A simple handshake. That's all Jake Calvo needed when he started his company. Today, 80 years later, we like to say thank you to all of you who have taken our hand in trust. Thank you to the dreamers. Thank you to the realists. Thank you to the family-oriented. Thank you to the entrepreneurial. Thank you to those climbing the corporate ladder. And to the ones starting a new life together. Thank you to the traditionalists and the edgy. To the young at heart and the old souls. Thank you to the daring, to the protective, to the practical. Thank you to the hopeful. To all of you from all of us, our deepest, happiest, and infinite thanks.
80 years here for you. 80 years thanks to you. Calvo's Insurance, a legacy of trust.
Win adventure in the ITNE Explore Your World Million Mile Giveaway. Every week from July 16 to November 2nd, we're giving away 60,000 United Mileage Plus miles to ITNE postpaid and prepaid subscribers. Imagine where you could go. Go on a weekend getaway to the Philippines. Enjoy fresh sushi in Japan. Itadakimasu. Sip a latte at a cafe in Paris. Or use your miles for shopping and other rewards. It's your world. Explore it.
It's tough to top an original, so we added to the sides instead. It's the cheesy gordita crunch you know and love, now completely new. The limited edition double cheesy gordita crunch box, only at Taco Bell.
Hafa and welcome back. 4 bypass surgeries that were a success. Doctors and medical staff at GRMC announcing 4 open heart surgeries were completed just last week, Nick.
That's right, Kristen. 2 of the patients went home today. Others are now on a path to recovering.
4 open heart surgeries done for the first time this year at GRMC. The procedures led by Dr. Noel Concepcion.
The main thing was really just even getting 1 case done, because that meant that you had all the
you had everything together that you need to complete an operation, which is equipment, personnel, and resources.
The program was initially launched in 2015, but the H-2B visa crisis forced a suspension of the program at the hospital. Staff from Modesto, California, which includes Dr. Concepcion, were brought in for the relaunch.
What makes cardiac surgery difficult to do and start is that you require so many people, and the surgeon is just the tip of the iceberg. You know, you don't hire a surgeon and expect to have good, effective heart surgery. It requires good nurses, and to be honest, the nurses are there with the patient and do a lot of the minute-to-minute management of the patient, so they play a critical role in the success of surgery. You have to trust your people, and so that we have to all be on the same page, and that's what we're trying to do, is to take a system that seems to work in California and bring it out here.
The 4 patients who received open heart surgery last week range from ages being in their 50s to 70s. Now that training of local staff is done and plans are set for Dr. Concepcion to return to Guam, others in the community will be able to take advantage of the program.
It's been a lot easier now than it was in 2015. Obviously, the hospital is busier. They have a systems program going, and it reflects in their ability to even do this. So I foresee that very shortly the GRMC team really won't need any more mentoring.
Mentoring so that more staff locally are ready to do their part to help with the procedure and save a life.
Family violence, DUI, and drug possession were the top offenses charged at the Judiciary of Guam last year. This according to the recently released fiscal year 2017 Citizen-Centric report. A quick look at the breakdown: 372 family violence offenses, 292 DUIs, and 217 drug possession cases. It appears to be a downward trend when compared to years prior. Looking ahead, the courts will be rolling out the Safe Streets Act, establish a DWI treatment court, and add an 8th trial judge to the bench. To view the Centric report in its entirety, visit our website.
Now for a look at Eye on Crime. He's accused of raping a drunken girl at a party. 22-year-old Jonathan Curtis Womack is charged with 2 counts of third-degree criminal sexual conduct as a second-degree felony. Court documents state the female was drinking at a party and fell asleep in a room upstairs. When she awoke, she reported a man on top of her, allegedly raping her despite her cries for him to stop. When the suspect left, she tried to leave but was locked in. Court documents state she had to call her father and dropped a pin of her location in a WhatsApp message to tell him where she was. The victim reported extreme pain to her privates and asked for medical attention. When confronted by police, Womack acknowledged he had sex with the victim, but stated it was consensual.
Well, a 31-year-old man is behind bars, charged with strangulation and family violence, both as third-degree felonies. It happened early Saturday morning. The victim reported John Oscar Ardos allegedly struck, spat on, and strangled her, but she was able to escape and call police. He initially denied the allegations, but later admitted he had been drinking and didn't mean to hurt her.
He allegedly threatened to kill a man who owed him $5. 65-year-old Richard Ignacio Agagi was arrested over the weekend and is charged with terrorizing as a third-degree felony. The victim reported Agagi ran him off an Agate Road, used his hands to mimic the shape of a pistol, and repeatedly threatened to shoot and kill him. The victim reported being overwhelmed with fear and called the cops. It became famous for its finger-licking good chicken. But now, for the first time, KFC is open for breakfast here. General Manager Frank Cruz says they serve the typical American and local foods such as bacon, eggs, spam, and chicken fried rice. But he predicts that waffles will become one of their new favorites.
I wanted to be unique. I wanted it to be different from anything else. And so we really went hard after waffles, and Belgian waffles, mind you. And so and then we just wanted to go over the top with the price as well. So you can't get waffles anywhere for under $5. So I'm really happy with that.
Monday was the official launch for the new breakfast service. It's already available at KFC locations throughout Asia, but the Guam KFC is the first American location to serve the morning meals.
Wow, all that greasy fried goodness with some syrup on top.
That Nick can't eat yet because he's dieting.
All right, sports is next.
How easy is it to earn reward points using the Alpha Plus app? Here, let me show you. Simply register with the all-new Alpha Plus app and earn reward points while making purchases at your favorite stores you already shop at. Just present the app to any authorized representative to earn your points. Now that was easy. Alpha Plus, make every day a plus.
Half a day, hungry drivers. Are you spending more time on the road? Shell has teamed up with Wendy's so you can buy fuel and eat free. Just fuel up 7 gallons at any Shell station and get a coupon for a Wendy's cheeseburger or chicken nuggets. Or use 2 coupons to redeem a Wendy's cheeseburger meal with fries and a drink. Fuel up at Shell today because this deal won't last long. Quality service, fuel and food from Shell and Wendy's.
KUAM Sports is presented by Triple J.
What's up, Guam? Dave Delgado here for KUAM Sports. Thanks for watching. We'll take a look at some girls' high school volleyball in just a bit, but first off, some IFL football for you. Check it out. The GW Geckos and Father Duenas Friars took to the GW field for the 2018 IFL season opener. FD entered the game with the record for most consecutive wins, a record set against the Geckos last year. FD didn't waste any time getting on the scoreboard. Nick Anderson showed some love to his brother Brian, hooking him up with a 30-yard touchdown. The PAT was good for the 7-0 lead. GW got some help from the Friars defense, forcing them to commit some costly penalties. The Geckos took advantage of their trip to the red zone as running back Shelby Meeks punched the ball in for the score. FD still leading 7-6. Junior running back Kian Artero was the workhorse for the maroon and gold. Play caller Bruce Meno called his number on the first play of the next possession. Artero answers the call and took the handoff 60-plus yards to the house to put the Friars back ahead. GW scored a defensive touchdown late in the second quarter off an interception, turned to a pick six. Down 14-12 with time winding down on the clock, FD's defense would hold their ground and prevent GW from scoring right before the halftime whistle blew. The Friars led 14-12 at halftime. GW came up with another big defensive play in the second half to regain the lead, recovering a fumble in the end zone for 6 points. PAT was good, 19-14, Geckos up. Kian Artero and quarterback Nick Anderson sealed the deal down the stretch for FD. Artero finished the game with 2 rushing touchdowns. Nick Anderson distributed the ball and kept the chains moving for the visiting team. The streak continues for the Father Duenas Friars as they defeated the George Washington Geckos 26-19. The Simon Sanchez Sharks forfeited their first game of the season to the Ukuru Bulldogs. The JFK Islanders closed the door on the Southern High Dolphins for the 23-0 shutout win Saturday night. JFK's special teams play and defense was the recipe for success. Nico Velez pulled down the game's first touchdown courtesy of quarterback Alan Bland. Velez, a new pickup by the Islanders, fit right into the offensive system. Kicker John Sarmiento kicked through the point-after attempt and later hit a field goal to give the home team a 10-0 lead. Justin Camacho added to his team's lead after finding an opening in the defense, shaking off defenders for big gains. Camacho ended the drive with a short touchdown run. Alan Bland went in for the game's last score while the defense took over and kept the Dolphins out of the end zone. JFK will now face the 0-1 Teason High Titans on Saturday at JFK. Teason lost their opener to the Guam High Panthers 52-0. Guam High and FD meet up this Friday at Guam High at 7 p.m. IIAAG girls volleyball, the GW Geckos picked up a 2-set win over the Harvest Eagles 25-17, 25-22 over at the GW Gym. GW also picked up a 2-set win in the JV game 25-9 and 25-23. The JFK Islanders defeated the St. Paul Warriors in 2 sets, 25-20, 25-23. Triple J, GNYFF youth football results now from the weekend. The Cowboys and Raiders meeting up. In the Munhud division, it was the Cowboys winning 26-0. Metgut 26-7 Raiders. And in the Matua game, it was the Raiders winning 26-7. Packers and Steelers, Munhud game. Packers take the win 14-7. Steelers take the next 2 divisions, 27-0 in the Metgut and 34-0 for the Matua game. The Angels and Outlaws met up at Raiders Field. It was the Angels sweeping all 3 divisions, 27-0 for the Munhud, 28-0 for Metgut, and 28-0 for the Matua division. Eagles and Broncos, the Eagles take the Munhud game 20-0 and follow up with win in the Metgut division, 26-19, and in the Matua game it was a tie, 6-6. Well, that's going to do it for sports. We're back right after this.
Summer is here, and at Cars Plus and Mighty, that means big savings during our summer clearance event. Right now, save up to $8,000 on select 2018 Ram 1500 SLT Crew Cab, or save $3,250 on a 2018 Chrysler Pacifica, voted Family Car of the Year, 1.9